But I heard today that Amy Ann Spires is dealing with COVID, so I heard she's pretty sick.
So this person could just come over to the Civic Center. Cody's running it there. All right, and you'll just give him a chance to speak in public comment, right?
Correct. Yeah, the doors should be open. They should be able to just come in. So
Come in the basement door or the upstairs door?
all of it's open. They'll just need to sign in like normal. So
Okay,
and I'll just let them talk on my laptop here. So
thank you.
Councilor Arnold,
Yes, sir.
would you lead us in the pledge in the council meeting tonight, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Well, we got Beth Holbrook with us.
Hello, Mayor. How are you?
Yes, great. How are you, Beth?
Good, thank you.
Thank you for being with us. We have our work session now for 30 minutes, then our main meeting starts at 6 with where you'll do your presentation. So if you
Yeah, I
want to
was
be
just
here,
gonna. Oh, sorry, Mayor. Didn't mean to.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have it on my thing as 5:30, but I'll just come back and join you a little bit before 6 if that works well, or unless you had questions for me in your work session.
No, we won't. I don't think we will. So rather than have you just spend your time sitting listening, you'll hear it all again in the other meetings. So
Perfect. Thank you. I'll see you all in a bit.
thank you, Beth. I'd like to go ahead and call this work session to order this evening, Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. For the record, all city council members are present tonight, as are members of the staff. We'd like to excuse Shaylee Nay this evening. She's ill and won't be with us, but we got Cody Carden filling in for tonight. We'll see how he does. So maybe, sure he'll do well. Do you know of anyone? I guess we got at least one for public comment, Braden. Do we know of any others tonight coming?
I do not. And Shaylee's going to check her email and send them to us because she's the one on the public notice website and on all the notices. And I haven't received anything from Shaylee.
Okay. Thanks, Cody. Okay, move down to presentations and reports. We have one report tonight. We won't talk about it here. It's UTA's 5-year service plan. That was Beth Holbrook we were just talking to. She'll present that in our council meeting. Move on next to consent items. We have the meeting, council work session and council meeting for April 6th. We also have the council work session and council meeting for April 20th. Last time we sent the ones for April 6th for some corrections, and they should be back in your packet. We do have the ones also tonight for April 20th, and I know already there's a couple of corrections in there. We'll just have to note them, and then I'll make a note of them and we'll make sure Shaylee gets them. So, do you have any changes or corrections on the minutes for the 6th or the 20th?
What changes were already noted?
In the 20th,
Yeah.
there's one there for the motion on the rezone request. They've got Counselor Steiner
Yeah.
as making the motion, and that was actually the attorney for the owner of the trailer court. So, and then there's when you ask about the in discretionary items, you ask about the swim nights. There's a sentence in there that needs some work on it. I don't have it in front of me, but it's just doesn't read right. Doesn't really. It just needs to be redone. Okay, maybe listen to the recording and then rewrite that. So.
Yep. Those are the two things I had. So that's good.
Well, you get a gold star, okay? Tonight, so. All right, any other changes or corrections for this meeting? All right. Move on to action items. Action item number 1, consideration to approve resolution 2021-09. This is to adopt the city's tentative budget for FY 2022. Mr. Carden, do you have anything for this meeting?
No, so this is really just that requirement of state law, and then we'll go through it in detail in strategic planning following city council meeting.
Do you have any questions?
I had one thing, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I think this is where it's at. There's a spot where it had 20,000 extra for the mayor and council. Was that correct?
I don't know exactly which line item you're referring to.
Okay.
But yeah, probably because there's a couple things we wanted to talk to you about doing, and so we put it into the budget, and it fits best under you guys' department under the special projects. And
Sorry, let me just.
it should probably be on page 4 of the tentative budget document.
Okay. Anyway, it was like 20,000 less than or more than before.
Right. And some of that, I'll go over it tonight, but part of it, 15,000 or 16,000 of it's the election. You know how we have elections every other year, and it depends on how many entities participate in the election, what the city pays. So we budgeted worst case. So that's having a primary and having nobody else participate. And then we included some money in case we wanted to continue doing work with Lewis Young Roberts Birmingham. That's in the special department supplies. And then within the special projects, 1041 4700. One of the things that we talked about kind of starting this 2030 process with keeping that local option sales tax is possibly hiring, like getting with the other cities that collect the local option sales tax and hiring a lobbyist. And so we put some money in your budget because that's where like the legislative impact would be. If you guys wanted to pursue that course, because that's probably the least impactful for the city if we're able to get the state to just strike that one sentence that has that local option sales tax go away in 2030.
Okay. Yep, that's where it was the special projects, and I was just kind of curious what that was because it's normally around $1,000 or $1,500, and so
right.
Yeah.
And I'll go over in strategic planning following the city council meeting like I usually do. I have a PDF put together that I can share on my screen and go through kind of every increase and decrease and why we have what we have. But
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Move on to action item number 2. This is consideration of ordinance 933. It's the proposed rezone request from single-family residential R-1-8 zoning and single-family residential R-1-10 zoning a single-family residential R-1-4.5 zoning for property located approximately 300 West Highland Drive here in Riverdale. It's been requested by Brent Hill. Mr. Eggett, do you have any comments for this meeting?
Yeah, Mayor, I can give just a quick introduction to this and then obviously discuss it more at the main meeting. As you noted, Mr. Hill is the petitioner. This is an existing R18 zone on the large property, and then the smaller property is the R110 single family residential zoning. He's looking for, as noted in his submittal letter, a future development for single family residential uses on this property. Property zoning around it is R110 zoning. You've got some streets, neighboring Washington Terrace City to the south that has commercial uses on it. And then obviously to the east across 300 West is Washington Terrace property as well. I believe the golf course is right there. And then some residential. The request is on 0.58 acres of land. This location, there was a public hearing held with the Planning Commission on April 27th. During that public hearing, there were no comments provided by any members of the public. I did receive some telephone inquiries about the rezone request, what impacts it might have, or what the uses he might be looking for are. Even by the zone R14.5, he's only allowed single family dwelling uses. The most impactful is in the form of a zero lot line, which allow for potentially a duplex type of a concept, but again, it's through conditional use permit. And so the residents seem to be at least satisfied with those telephone conversations. Following the public hearing with the Planning Commission, they discussed it with the applicant and then made a recommendation for City Council approval of the request. All public hearing notifications have been sent out in compliance with state and city regulations. The current use, as many of you are probably familiar, is vacant, except for the R110 parcel is an existing parking area that is to the benefit of the neighboring commercial use on Deneen's dance studio. One thing we learned from the Planning Commission discussion about that dance studio is currently defunct. It's not operating, and clearly that's something you could discuss as a city council with the applicant in more detail if you'd like. Kind of an interesting situation in that the commercial property is in Washington Terrace, but the parking area that's adjacent to it is in Riverdale City. So just note that as we discussed this with the applicant. The general plan guidance for this area is residential low density. The proposed rezone request appears to be in compliance with the land use designation and supported in the area by the general plan for Area 10. And that documentation has also been provided in your packet following the executive summary. You'll see thereafter the application and then the supporting documentation from the applicant, him showing he paid a fee, and then the checklist showing that public hearing notifications have been all completed as required. So with that, Mayor, I would defer if there's any questions from me at this time, or we can discuss it at the next meeting. Thanks.
Do we have
Mayor?
any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
Mike, didn't he want to use that upper parking lot as part of that development so that people could park there and then walk down the stairs or have some kind of ramp to go to their house? Yes,
that's the concept he's exploring right now. Obviously, the feasibility of that would be explored in more detail during the any future development review, but that is the concept he's kind of running with right now for that parking lot.
Really interesting, you know?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he'll pull that off. It's interesting to see how people get concepts and then whether or not they can execute them. But really, with the rezone, we're not really trying to get too much in the weeds on those conversations at this point.
Right. There's been no site plan or anything like that submitted, right?
No.
Any other questions or comments? Move on next to discretionary business for this work session. Do we have any?
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to compliment Rich Taylor on getting the swag for the 75th anniversary of the city, like the shirt and the cap and coin. Appreciate what he did, all the work he went to getting that together for the council.
Thanks, Brent. I'm sure Rich appreciates that. It's nice of you to do that, Rich. That was unexpected, and it's all here on the table for you if you haven't been yet. So to pick those items up. Any
Mayor?
other?
Mayor?
Go ahead.
Yeah, two parts, the same question. Some weeks back, we discussed the surplus property on Ritter Drive, and also that discussion was a letter from Mrs. Fleming about donating it. Any timeline when those are going to be discussed or brought up to the council?
Bill, can you help us with that?
Yeah, I don't have a specific timeline on that. We were trying to get through the budget stuff for this season, and then I thought we'd bring it back as part of our strategic planning effort going forward. Did you have a time frame that you'd like to see that? Any time in the next couple of weeks or couple of months or anything on that?
Me personally, yeah. I think the response to Ms. Fleming needs to be sooner rather than later.
Okay.
And and that's kind of dealt with in the same discussion.
Okay. It's something that we will discuss and as a staff and bring back to you as soon as that's ready.
Thank you, Bart. Any other comments, questions, any discussion, more discretionary?
I just had one item. Chief Shawley texted me and said that he's got a family situation that he's dealing with, nothing major or important, just not going to be able to make the meeting, so asked to be excused.
Okay. Thank you. I think while we've got just a few minutes, I've got some things for the mayor's report. There's just a couple items. We might as well use this time rather than extending the length of our next meeting. Just a couple things from WACOG last night, the WACOG meeting. We had the head of the Weaver Morgan Health Department there, and he gave us a COVID-19 update. And I think it was yesterday, I sent you out all the latest numbers in that for Weber County. It was yesterday or the day before. And there's also a chart in there that gives you percentages. I think for over 70 people that's been vaccinated, it shows like 88%. And over 60, I think probably 70%. But he gave us some figures, went over that a little bit. But one thing that he mentioned that and then you got higher numbers with the older people, then it drops down. He said that right now in Weber County, those eligible to be vaccinated, and that doesn't include children that can't be vaccinated. That's only those that are eligible to be vaccinated. Right now in Weber County, 50% of those people have been vaccinated. So about half of them haven't got any shots. They talked about I guess they're taking walk-ins at the event center. They have more vaccine each day than they can dispense, and they're just really, and it's kind of statewide. It's not just in Weber County, but you can just about walk into these centers and get the vaccines. So thought that was an interesting one. And then this other item I thought was interesting, and I think and I heard there was an announcement today, I don't know, it was from the governor, but my wife said it was on KSL TV, some announcement about met the requirements for COVID, all three different portions of it. And I don't know if they were going to change the transmission index for the state or what they said, but if you know that, you might speak up and enlighten us all. But what they said last night was that with the way the numbers have been for the last they have to go 2 weeks in Weber County to go from moderate to low transmission. And right now, we're right on track to go to low transmission this Thursday. And that's not a for sure. He said that there's one area we're kind of on borderline on, but if the numbers stay good up through Thursday, there's a reasonably good chance that Weber County will be in the low transmission category. Last week, a week ago, Morgan County, which they had quite a few at one time up there, but they went to low transmission last week. So I thought that was interesting. I think Richard might like to know that for the planning he's doing. It could all change overnight, but I just thought those things were kind of interesting. Share them with you. So we talked about in-person meeting in June. I think next, we could even talk about it now, but I think let's wait till our next meeting and we'll discuss that a little more. I'm kind of watching the meetings that I go to this month and see what they're doing and kind of see what it is. And I'm going to check with the health department, see what their thoughts are on it. So make sure we do the right thing, and also want to get your opinion and your thoughts on the way to go with this. So we'll talk about it more. So if you have any thoughts or questions, if not, let's have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mayor, I have one thing. Just a quick question for Chief Brinkman. What is the law, rule, or whatever they do for unloading cars in the middle of Riverdale Road? You know, between the two lanes, they got Peterson, or it's not Peterson, I guess it's Ken Garf now, but just pull up the auto transport vehicles and they just unload them in the middle of Riverdale Road. They have plenty of space in their lot, but they like yesterday, they were doing it in the middle of Riverdale Road. So I was just wondering what the rule was.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that.
They're not supposed to do that?
No, I don't know of a specific law that allows them to do that. We've had that. We've dealt with that before in the past. We've gotten complaints when they do that. So usually we try and get them to pull off to a different. They should not be doing that on Riverdale Road for sure. So it would just fall.
Tony DeVino does it, or on the side road. But that's
Right.
I don't see that as a big deal. But yesterday, I mean, it was the height of traffic with that guy trying to unload cars right in the middle of Riverdale Road, and it's kind of comical, actually.
Yeah, I can put something out to our guys to watch for that.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't know if somebody can call Ken Garf and, they got to know cars are coming and just tell them not to do it there.
Yeah, I would think they could just do all that there on 900 West, but.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That's usually where I see them, is on 900. So. All right. Any other items? Do we have a motion to adjourn the work session?
So moved.
Second.